So today we are doing 4.3. It's all about isosceles and equilateral triangles. Remember, isosceles triangles, 2 of the sides are the same. Equilateral triangles, all the sides are the same. When either one of those is true, we have some special things that happen with the angles. So we'll talk about those, do a little practice. I'm hoping to get your homework done in class today, since it is a, maybe a fun night. I don't know. But here's what you need to know about isosceles triangles.
We gotta write it.
Yes.
We gotta write that too.
Yes. Yes.
What did you say, John?
All right. So I want you to label these angles down here congruent. So important things to label on the isosceles triangle are the legs. The legs is what we call the 2 sides that are congruent. Okay? The other side is called the base. So label that 3rd side, the one that doesn't match, that's the base. And the base angles are the 2 angles on either side of the base. Okay? The base angles are congruent when the legs are congruent. So you can sort of go across the triangle from the legs. That's congruent. That's congruent. Okay? So if you labeled the picture as I told you to, this theorem's already written in the picture, or shown in the picture. So you don't need to write it again. This is saying if the 2 sides are congruent, then the 2 base angles are congruent. That's why I had you add that little bit to the triangles. It just saves you from writing this. Okay?
I didn't add it because my triangle was too big.
You didn't add it? Try to sneak it in there. So these 2. You can't?
I added it on one side though.
Okay, then maybe just put a little thing that says like base angles congruent. There you go. You can still do shortcuts and get all the information in there. All right. I am going to do the top 2, then we're going to do the bottom 3 together. Okay? So we are trying to find the measure of angle A. Do you see these sides are labeled as being congruent? If the sides are congruent, the base angles are congruent. So those 2 need to match. So what's the measure of angle A? 82 degrees. Good. Now, there's a trick on part B because angle A is not one of the base angles. However, the sides are congruent, so these 2 are going to be congruent. And then I use the theorem from yesterday to find A. So I'm going to do 180 minus 67 minus 67. Anyone know what that is?
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Are we supposed to write this?
Nope. All right, go ahead and draw those 3 triangles below. 1 and 2, those are the ones that are a little easier because A is a base angle. If you're working ahead, though, be real careful on number 3. I'll give you a couple minutes to catch up. So number 1, if these sides are the same, the base angles across are the same. One of those is angle A. That's the one I'm looking for. So what's the measure of angle A? 45 degrees. Good. All right. Number 2 is very similar. I know that the sides are congruent, so the angles across are congruent. One of those is A. So what's the measure of angle A? 57. Good. Number 3, 2 sides are the same, so the base angles are the same. However, A is not a base angle. So what do I need to do to find A?
180 minus 79.
Yeah, you got to do minus 79 twice because both of those base angles are 79 degrees. What do I get? 22. Oh, I'm not grading you on your artistic ability, so you're good. Questions on these? No, you don't need to write this. But do you guys remember what a converse is?
Some shoes.
Yeah. What else are shoes?
Green.
Remember those really ugly Converses that were on that one slide? What type of shoes were they?
Look at my little
Do you remember?
Oh, she told us about the Converse.
Converse.
I remember.
Flip flop.
I remember the.
Yeah, so the converse is where you flip flop it. So this is saying that the flip flop is true too. Now if I show you the angles are congruent, you know that the sides are congruent. So now we're just going to practice that. So I'll do the first one, we'll do the next three together. Do you see how these angles are marked as being congruent? So I know that these sides across from the angles are also congruent. I can use that information to find x by writing an equation and getting the x by itself. Okay? That's how we're going to do the next three. I'll give you a sec. Well, actually, just write the equations with me. I think you've got enough triangles for now.
So we have to write that down? No. Converse.
Sure. Yeah. Whatever. No, you didn't have to write the converse. All right. Do you see how these angles are congruent? So what do I know about the sides across from the angles? If the angles are congruent, what do I know about the sides across from the angles? They're also congruent. Congruent means equal. So I want you to write this equation with me and practice solving it. 2x equals 15. Then what? Divide by 2. Yep. We're going to get a decimal. Anyone know what it is?
No. I just know it's the decimal.
7.5. Good. Questions? All right, number 5. If the angles are congruent, what do I know about the sides? Also congruent. So this time x minus 7 equals 38. Then you add 7 to both sides. X equals 45. Good. All right, last one on this slide. We got a little more after this, so don't get too excited. Base angle is congruent. Sides across are congruent. So 5x plus 7 equals 27. Subtract 7 from both sides. 5x equals 20. Divide. X equals 4. You are correct. Questions on the isosceles triangle stuff? Yes, just write one of these. Write one of the if-then statements. Because they're basically the same thing, but the flip-flop, the converse. So if I tell you that a triangle is equilateral, it's equiangular too. So if the sides are the same, the angles are the same. The converse is true. If you know it's equiangular, it's also equilateral. So angles are the same, sides are the same. Same idea, I'll work on the top one, then we'll work on the bottom ones together. So do you see how all the angles are the same?
Yeah.
When all the angles are the same, all the sides are the same. Very good. If all the angles are the same, all the sides are the same. So I'm given information about 2 of those sides. Make them equal. And solve. All right, write the equations with me for the next 3 and solve them with me as I do them. So, same thing, number 7. All the angles are the same, so all the sides are what? The same. So 2x minus 1 is going to equal what? 19. Fabulous. How do I solve that? Add 1. Add 1. Number 7. You are correct. X is going to equal 10. All right, number 8. Angles are the same. Sides are the Same. 7x plus 5 equals 26. Great. Now what? Minus 5. Minus 5. All right, number 9 is super important. All the sides are the same, right? When all the sides are the same, all the angles are the same. Do you guys remember what the angles all are when they're all the same? It's called equiangular, but all the angles have the same measure every single time. Do you guys remember what it was? No, like what's the number? What's the angle measure when they're all the same? Well, they all add to 180. What's 180 divided by 3? Put into 3 equal parts.
60?
What?
60?
Yeah, let's add a little note. We'll just say when all angles are congruent, they equal 60 degrees. You have to know that, okay? Put a couple little... There we go. All right? So anytime all the sides are the same, all the angles are the same. If all the angles are the same, they're all 60 degrees. If you forget, you can do what we just did. I know they all add to 180. I know they're all going to be the same. 180 divided by 3 is 60. So on this particular problem, we are going to do 5x equals 60. You are correct. Very good. What are your questions?
Are we doing?
I think so. There might be a surprise problem. Like a Halloween surprise.
Oh, that's quite Halloween.
Nope, we're done. All right, what did we learn about today? Isosceles. And what? Equilateral triangles. Good. All right, here comes your homework. Look at all this time.